Okay, so the red pill versus black pill debate. So which is better? Red pill just gives you the truth for lots of external, societal, and cultural concepts. It's usually very optimistic, and this is because it provides a lot of solutions, like a plan of action. Some other solutions include wallet maxing, basically like financial independence and knowledge of finance and like a hard work ethic. Social skills, so like confidence in your and body language and like game, like they consider these like kind of like skills to build. And then like gym maxing, like whether it be like strength or bodybuilding, stuff like that. So usually just very broad, vague advice in my opinion. Some of it is, well, obviously it's very good in the case of like, just obviously, it's obviously good to have more knowledge on how to make more money. But now let's go to Blackpill. It gives you the truth with regards to how small variances in our phenotype play a massive role in the course of our life. This is out of our control, and these variances can be noticed in a micro level and a macro level. So it's pessimistic for the most part, and little black pill content provides good solutions. But basically, how you look is going to determine a lot about your life. And while this is true in an empirical sense, I think black pill is a little bit too black and white. Some things that they mention are like your face. They suggest surgery, hair transplants, or like for your frame, what they call it. They even suggest like surgery for height, gym maxing, for using anabolics. Not really good advice. But there's some black pill channels that do give good advice that kind of aligns with what Graypill is going to be focused on. But the pros for black pill is that they use empirical evidence to show that the way our genes are expressed have a big impact on our life, and that shouldn't be denied. I don't think there is a good argument against that. But that evidence shouldn't influence us to be pessimistic. So which is better, red pill or black pill? Well, honestly, I think they both have their flaws and they both have their pros, like the advantages. We can learn a little bit of something from both, but there is something fundamentally missing from both of them. So to address this, we have to discuss what is the nature of the human species. If in order to live a good life, you have to live according to your nature, and that's just the case for every animal. So some things that I think are a part of the human nature are certain is freedom. So just like most animals, we need autonomy, basically like the ability to decide our fate. This includes financial, which is something that's mentioned by Redpill. But it's obvious that we desire more freedom because we build political structures for safety and protection, but then tear them down when we feel that our freedoms and privacies are limited. Our governments are built on this balance between safety, protection, and freedom and privacy. So it's obviously very important. Communication. Our ancestors needed groups to survive, so we need to coexist with other humans. And it's also very important to bond with others. And I'll explain why in a second. Some other smaller freedoms include movement, the ability to move forever, expression, the ability to conduct ourselves the way we want to, pursuit, the ability to attain certain experiences and feelings, and then thought, the ability for our brain to form new connections. So all these are important to us. I think all these make us human, or at least, actually, yeah, okay. So how can we ensure that we can have these freedoms for the entirety of our lives? So is it luck? Is it genetics? Is it inevitable for them to go away? Well, obviously, most of us think that these will go away as we age. And we think it's natural. And that the rate that in which they go away is entirely dependent on our genetics and we have no control over it. Well, that's not what I believe in. And that's not what the Graypill believes in. So that's why I created this. And it's why I'm talking about it right now. So that I can open the discussion for it. So I think it's entirely dependent on our environment. Both the fact that these freedoms will go away and the fact that the rate in which they do. These instinctual desires are in our full control. So instinctual, why am I using that word? Well, because these freedoms, like I said, these are our nature. It's part of our instinct to want these things. It's part of our instinct. And how do we know this? Well, our physiology gives us rewards for pursuing for conducting ourselves according to our nature. So when we think and we form new connections, we're able to survive longer because we can build things, we can create things, invent things. When we pursue certain experiences and feelings, we essentially give ourselves the ability to feel emotion, which is essential for humans. It's part of what makes us very unique. The ability to express ourselves. We all want to act as if we are ourselves. We don't want to be someone else. And I think that's important. I think we like to make decisions for ourselves. The ability to move forever. And I'll get into that later on. So, what about the desire to reproduce? Isn't that instinct? Well, this one's harder to explain because it falls under the category of pursuing. And this is also why it's super significant. So the energy we use to pursue a mate is not a separate category, but it is. We all have been blue-pilled on the significance of this pursuit. So culture and media have done a really good job at directing a lot of our energy to very few true matters. So, and these things have made us humans the way we are now. So our IQ levels, our obesity, our obesity statistics and our IQ and literacy statistics are all an outcome of what the environment and current culture that we live within direct our energy to. So obviously it's not directing our energy to good things because, yeah, so and in America we highly prioritize expression, artistic expression as well, but just like expression and freedom to express ourselves, freedom to express our sexuality, things like that. Is this good for us? Well, the freedom to be able to do it is good, but should we do it is a different question, and it's a cultural question. It has nothing to do with our rights, but that's another topic. So, pursuing the ability to be human has never really crossed our minds before. We watch a screen that gives us the emotions of what it feels like to be human, or so a lot of the time, I think our society is going to continuously rely on stimuli to make us feel something from within, when it should be We feel something within us to bring us to do things that make us feel human. This is all from a physiological standpoint. I'll get into some other more details on what I'm just talking about right now. But so this energy that I'm saying we've been blue pilled to direct our energy in very trivial things. So where does this energy come from? Well, it's obvious. Our ancestors, they needed this energy. They needed it to hunt for food, defend themselves from enemies, and protect themselves from a very dangerous environment. So we have a lot of energy, and more than what we even know what to do with. And essentially, we waste it on pursuing meaningless things, and we don't really know why we're doing it, but it's what everyone is telling us to do, or at least it's what seems to be the ultimate goal in life. The goal that we've been told what we've been told is the goal of life. No one ever tells you that the goal of life is to be human, and it sounds like that would be obvious, but it depends on your definition of human. And most people think that being just existing, you are being human, but that's not my definition. My definition of being human is what our nature is, what we evolved to be. And I mean, some people don't even believe in evolution, but what we evolved to be is not just to exist. We didn't evolve just to exist. The reason why we still exist till today is because of certain adaptations we had to make so that we could have survived, and this includes the high amount of energy we have. That's one of the adaptations. And why do we feel exhausted by the end of the day, or why, as we age, does our energy just plummet? And what can we do about it? Well, that's what the Graypill is for. So we have a lot of untapped potential, and we can reverse the environment's effects on us and also manipulate the environment to have this form of energy for much longer, and therefore living a longer life if we want to. Or we can also quantify the positive environmental factors and make them a tool to achieve greatness in many fields of pursuits. So, certain things about our environment are conducive to the adaptations that we've made. So, like our high energy, or at least our body, or everything from our energy and our mood, our motivation, how we develop physically, all these things are directly correlated to the environment. And we want those things, those factors I just listed, we want them to be positive. We don't want them to deteriorate. We don't want our motivation to deteriorate, our energy, our mood, or how we develop physically. We want them all to go up. And if the environment is directly correlated to that, then we can manipulate our environment in a positive way so that it influences these things correctly. These are the things these are what Redpill and Blackpill want to bring to us, but don't really completely fulfill this. And that's why I just don't think you should subscribe to one or the other entirely. So, what is the Graypill? I've mentioned this before. Well, first of all, when it comes to the Redpill, I do not disagree with pursuing more knowledge in business, and I don't think there's anything wrong with, I guess, developing confidence. However, social skills and confidence are another topic that I will address. not as complicated or nuanced as the red pill makes it seem to be. The red pill resembles capitalistic values, such as if you work hard enough, you'll eventually have financial independence and freedom. Well, at least they'll. But this is the thing. Find certain freedoms. We shouldn't prioritize one over the other. We can prioritize certain pursuit. Well, it does entirely depend on person to person, case to case, but we shouldn't make it sound like the ultimate goal for everyone, because that's just not the case. Maybe for a few, but not everyone. I don't think it's the case for everyone, and I don't think you should. This is my point. I don't think you should sacrifice certain human qualities because you prioritized one. Yeah, I think you can try it, but I think it will be unsuccessful. Being a millionaire or having extremely good social skills, but I mean, you've basically developed a completely different persona in the process. I don't think these things are gonna make us are inherently good. I think maybe they're good in some cases or for a few people, but that they don't have anything to do with being human. Is my point. And yeah, there's more involved in being a human than having financial freedom. Obviously, freedom allows us to be human, so there is obviously some importance to it. So now it's in regards to Blackpill. One of the black pills is called a race pill, claims certain races are perceived as lower status than others in social status, not in value, but it's mainly social status. And this is usually an extremely controversial topic because, it's our race, or at least our ethnicity, because I think race is now considered a social construct. It's considered a social contract, and so it's our ethnicity. So how does the Graypill address this problem? Well, in the lines of the environment, I think this is a problem of culture. I don't think it actually has anything to do with the ethnicity itself, why we perceive some as lower and others as higher in status. However, it is important to look at how we evolved. Well, our ancestors, so certain ethnicities evolve, have different adaptations because of the location that their ancestors, when the continents broke apart, and when certain the anthropoids, when they migrated to different continents and different locations, different environments, we all kind of changed in different ways. And obviously we appear to be different, our phenotypes are different for these reasons. And it's important to recognize this. It's not something that should be avoided when we talk about ethnicity. Like why certain people have certain adaptations compared to others, and why certain phenotypes are more prevalent than others. Yeah, but this will be culture will be another topic that I will talk about later on. But I got a question. What is the ideal world for the gray pill? I think it's extremely important that we eradicate blue pills that convince us our environment is conducive to our nature. So a lot of us think that our environment right now, the life we live right now, is good for being human. Many of us think that we are privileged, but these privileges came at a really large cost. And most of us have yet to recognize it. Most humans have yet to recognize this cost. And yeah, I don't think our environment is entirely conducive to our nature. Obviously, our life expectancy is higher, or our mortality rate isn't as high. We don't die when in childbirth, women don't die, and less people die in war. I would suppose less people are hungry. There's less chaos in concerns of overall global politics and economies. I would believe that is what is the case right now. So most of us have access to resources, and these are all good things, but we need to, I suppose Graypill is in a micro level going to be addressing why your personal environment is deteriorating you. So I think everything from what we breathe, eat, drink, wear, touch, and even the daily activities that we do, they all can negatively impact the major factors that are components that are our nature. And I think it's important that we stop being delusional and realize how the environment is destroying us, so that each individual person can attain the happiness they want. That's the goal. That each individual person has the opportunity and has the knowledge to know that they can be happy and pursue any goal, regardless of what their genetics or how their genes were expressed and what genetics they have, whether they consider them disadvantages or not. I think that's just entirely wrong, and I think it's a terrible narrative, which is why I don't think there's a massive flaw in the Blackpill philosophy, and also I think there's flaws in the Redpill philosophy. I just think the Graypill is the future. I just think it provides an answer to questions that were never even asked. I don't understand why we aren't asking, well, is it good that we're doing certain things, or what does it mean to be human, and what are we doing that is not human? How are we de-evolving? How are we deteriorating ourselves? Just because we can do something does it mean we should? And I mean, that's a question that's up to each individual person, but in my opinion, it's best to live our lives conducting ourselves by what we were made to be. And I think your opinion on that, anyone's opinion on what that means, just to go there, do it yourself, and you'll notice how right it feels. Why acting as and doing the things that humans were meant to do will make you feel like your life is greater now. It is greater because of that, because of doing the right thing, doing the things that are according to our nature.